You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily. Time now to look at some major issues making news, in our country and sometimes beyond. Now, we are looking at one trending story that's been making waves over the weekend. I mean, various interpretations and what people were asking for, they had it. But is that it? I have here with me Paul Eric Ofori, who is head of research at COPEC. Later on the show, I'm joined by another guest, and I will introduce him when he comes. Hi, Paul. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, and good morning to your viewers out there.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And a special shout out to my wife,
Okay.
Dr. Mrs. Ofori. Yeah.
Okay, this is good morning. Right, so let's look at this story that broke on Friday. It's really set tongues wagging. Everybody is talking about it, and I think that the minister has done the needful by resigning, stepping aside, just so that whatever investigations. Now, already she has promised that she is going to cooperate, so that at the end of it all, she will be vindicated. Now, it's only appropriate that we take the story from the Chronicle, considering that they broke the story. Now, if you go into, now on the front page, I will be vindicated at the end of the day, says Cecilia Dapaah in her goodbye letter to Akufo-Addo. Now, let me just take the story. This one is by Maxwell Ofori. It says, the former Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Dapaah, has promised to avail herself to any probe to establish the facts of the issue that led to her resignation on Saturday. According to her, the investigation would exonerate her and also confirm her integrity during her public service. Now, quote, I intend to cooperate fully with all state agencies to enable them to fully establish the facts. I have no doubt whatsoever that at the end of the process, it will be fully established that I have conducted myself with integrity during my period in public service, and I will be fully exonerated from all the allegations that have filled the public domain in the past 24 hours, unquote. Now, the letter dated July 22, 2023, signed by the former Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources and addressed to President Akufo-Addo, thanked him for giving her the opportunity to serve our beautiful nation, Ghana. Now, prior to thanking the president, she had stated emphatically that the figures being bandied around are not the correct representation of what she and her husband reported to the police. However, not oblivious to the uproar news from a person in her position could generate, she has decided to lay down her tools so the matter does not preoccupy the government. Now, quote, whereas I can state emphatically that those figures do not represent correctly what my husband and I reported to the police, I am very much aware of the import of such stories around someone in my position. I am resigning, therefore, because I do not want this matter to become a preoccupation of the government and a hindrance to the work of the government at such a crucial time, she explained. Now, President accepts resignation. President Akufo-Addo accepts the resignation with considerable regret. He thanked the former minister for her contribution and devotion to the process of the government and the nation. Now, let's keep to the background to the story. So, two house helps of Cecilia Dapaah and her husband, Daniel Osei-Kuffour, are before an Accra Circuit Court for allegedly stealing monies and personal items from the room of the couple. Now, the 2 and 3 other accused persons were put before an Accra Circuit Court presided over by Susanna Ekufo on Thursday, July 20, 2023. Their pleas were not taken, but Sarah has been admitted to bail in the sum of 1 million cedis with 2 sureties. The sureties are to deposit their Ghana cards with the registrar of the court. The case is adjourned to August 2, 2023. So this is it. I don't know how you received the news on Friday when you heard it. Now, when I heard it, I just felt maybe it's one of those stories out there. Usually you have all manner of stories thrown out there, and then later we just get to know that that wasn't really the facts of the case. But it's proven that this time around, there's a bit of truth in there. And according to Madam Cecilia Dapaah, the figures are not the true representation of what she took to the police. I don't know what you make of this.
Thank you very much. Honestly, when I heard it the first time, I was quite scandalized.
Yeah.
And as everyone else, I mean, everybody was thrown into that frenzy. What really is happening? What's going on? Why would a minister of state be keeping such huge sums of money in her home to the extent that you have maids making away with almost $1 million? This is hard currency.
Yeah.
So why would you be keeping such monies in your home? But let's establish this. First and foremost, as far as our legal regimes are concerned, she has not gone against any laws of the land.
Yes.
However, let's ask ourselves, if 100 of us decide that we are keeping our monies at home, if 100 of us are keeping 1 million each at home, what becomes of our economy? Now, we know that trading activities involve circulation of money. And so our banks and what have you need these monies to be able to give out loans and what have you. But if you have a minister of state deciding to keep in excess of $1 million with some 300,000 euros also being kept there, and for the cities, it's not even an issue to discuss, because, I mean, what we have is that in excess of about 58 million cedis that's been thrown to the public, and that she was keeping these monies in her home. Let's ask ourselves, where is she getting the monies from? Yes, she's been the Minister of Aviation before. We can establish that.
Yes.
She is also the spouse, we are told, is also a legend in terms of when it comes to architects in Ghana. We understand all of that, but can we really tell the source of the funds? Can we know where the monies are coming from? I was hoping by now the OSP, I was hoping by now IOCO, I was hoping by now GRA, I was hoping by now the state entities will be on her neck, making sure the monies that are the court talked about are legally hers.
But it's early days yet. You know, the story broke on Friday. Today is Monday morning.
Frema, we didn't need to wait till Monday morning, even for her resignation. The very minute the news broke, that was when we wanted to see our state agencies, you know, being at the forefront. They should have been acting on this the very minute the news came. And so if by now OSP has not issued any notice of invitation, GRA, nothing, what do you call it, IOCO, everybody is silent on the issue. Had it not been her resignation, I'm not sure really would have seen any seriousness being attached to the issue. But it is a serious and a national issue that needs to be discussed.
Right, so she is a Minister of State, yes, but we also don't know her private businesses, I mean, the businesses that she owns. And looking at the way our banking system is now, I mean, even those of us with just a few hundreds of cedis, we are thinking of going to withdraw our monies because look at what is happening to the pensioners, you know. If I don't feel too secure, too safe to take my money to the bank, like you mentioned earlier, I have not broken any rule. I have not broken any law that says that I can't keep my own money in my own house.
I understand you perfectly. You are not far from the truth. I mean, we have people keeping monies at home. But to that quantum, that volume, that sum, that is where the issue is coming from. And then the next thing will be, how legal was that money acquired? What really was she into to acquire such monies? I mean, you are in charge of sanitation. When it comes to petroleum pricing, we have an element of a levy that is paid to them. 10 pesos on petrol and then 10 pesos on diesel. Now, she is a spending officer of that ministry. And so if you have 10 pesos being paid to you from the price build-up, at the end of the day, in Ghana, we consume in excess of about 11,500 metric tons a day. And let's multiply that 10 pesos on both petrol and diesel. We are looking in excess of about 400 million cedis almost each year being given to that ministry. How has she been able to account for it since this law was passed, since we started paying this levy somewhere 2021, January? And so we want to know, everyone else wants to know, that you being the spending officer, with these monies being in your care, how have you utilized these monies in terms of making sure our sanitation is clean and all of that? You leave a lot of doubts in the minds, and there are a lot of speculations around how you acquired these huge sums of money. And so if our state entities can just come out and clear the air that we've extended invitation to the minister, of course, ex-minister, and she's come to clarify. We've gone through her banking details, we've gone through so-and-so documents, and we can verify that indeed the $1 million that is being talked about, which happened to have been stolen by her mates, was acquired legally. Yeah. The 300,000 euros was also acquired legally. The millions of Ghana cedis that is being also talked about were also acquired legally. Then we can rest assured that indeed the monies that we paid with regards to sanitation levy has been accounted for. Yeah.
But in the meantime, it's also important to state that it has not been established that she's misappropriated any funds. So the process has just begun. And would you not say that she's done the right thing by resigning? I mean, once the story broke, the next day she said, I'm stepping aside, okay? I'm just leaving quietly, and then I will avail myself for any probe whatsoever that will happen. Is that not the right thing to do?
That was the honest thing to do. I mean, if I were in her shoes, I would have done same.
Yeah.
And so it was good that she resigned. However, the president, in accepting her resignation, should have used that opportunity to clarify the air. That, listen, if you are in my government and if you have that kind of notion that you are here to enrich yourself, I'm sorry, this is not a platform. But we see
the president can't also say that. I mean, on what grounds would the president say that? Don't we have rich people as politicians? Don't we have rich people in government?
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
No, I want to understand properly. Yes.
I'm not disputing the fact that people are really doing great businesses and making legal money.
So the president cannot readily say that.
What I said was,
yes.
You see, to the extent that the president goes ahead to say that even before an invitation is extended to quote and unquote the corporate or the accused, you are attempting to defend the person's integrity by saying that I know that you will be vindicated at the end of the day. I mean, it goes to throw a bit of doubt in the minds of the public that somebody who is at the forefront trying to fight corruption is here saying that even his own appointee who has been accused, allegedly, that she's keeping such sums of money in her home. And then you go ahead to make such a statement.
But maybe the president knows something that you and I do not know. Like I asked earlier, do we know her private businesses? Do we know what she owns? I mean, if we have an idea of all these, then we can say that, okay, based on ABC, there's no way you should be able to have all this money, especially at home.
Fema, we know her spouse is into real estate. And I honestly do not know the other side of the honorable. Yeah. However, as far as I'm concerned, she is or was a minister of state. Yeah. And so whatever happens, our interest is with her public service. And if at the end of the day, she is said to have these monies at home, we just want to be sure, we just want to know legally where these monies acquired in that regard. If it is established that indeed the monies were acquired legally, I do not have an issue with that. She was pretending over an institution that personally I was paying levies, to. So I want to know whether or not the monies I was paying are accounted for legally, and then at the end of the day, I do not have to sit somewhere and say, oh, quote and unquote, Madam Cecilia Dapaah spent the monies that were allocated to a ministry for sanitation purposes. You understand? So I was really hoping that the president could have hammered or used that opportunity to send a bit of a signal to his other appointees that, listen, if you make a mistake or have the notion that you are in my government to enrich yourself, then I'm sorry, this is not a platform for you. But where you have the president even beforehand attempting to...
No, but I come back to my question that on what grounds must the president say something like that when it's not established that these monies were not acquired legally? Okay, let me ask you this. So if we, for instance,
Yes.
got news or probably saw her bank account balance and saw that, okay, there's 1 million in her account, she has 300, would it have been strange, or it is the fact that these monies were home? Which one exactly is the problem here?
Frema, listen, if you have 1 million cedis in your account, I am not against it.
Yeah.
The point is, the monies in her home were the monies acquired legally. That is the question on the minds of everyone.
But the money in the bank, was it acquired legally?
That is in the bank. That we can trace and track wherever the money is coming from. However, you have monies in your home. Can we establish the veracity or not, whether these monies were acquired legally? Because, listen, there's money laundering all over.
Yeah.
And if you give the slightest chance of room, I mean, anything is possible. I mean, people can speculate. Okay, is she also into drugs? You know, these are speculations. And if you give such room to people, why not? You have, if you like, shot yourself in the foot. But where, like, I'm still coming from, if a president is responding to a resignation, I was hoping, like I said, that he will hammer on the point that, listen, if you are an appointee, if you are in my government, I am not going to tolerate any form of corruption, any form of bribery, what have you. To the extent that you go a bit of defending the accused, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate on my part. It's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, the former minister, as it stands now, we don't know whether she's accused or not because she says that at the end of it all, she will be vindicated. Right, so we've also been joined by Mensa Thompson, who is Executive Director, Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability at CEPA. Hi, welcome.
Thank you, Freeman.
So we've been talking, Cecilia Dapaah, you know, and this story, it looks like it's even in the early stages yet, but people are trying to, you know, bring out their own misunderstandings and all the kind of issues surrounding why you should have $1 million at home, why you should have 300,000 euros at home at millions of cities and, you know, amidst personal belongings. And the fact that these monies, you know, were stolen between June, July and October, meaning that maybe if somebody wasn't even caught in the act, the people will still be stealing. I don't know, now the minister has resigned, which I think is a step in the right direction to make way for investigations to begin. She's also promised that she's going to avail herself, you know, so that she can help with investigations. The president, on his part, has accepted the resignation. Now, what Paul doesn't understand is why the president probably didn't say that if you are in my government, just know that this is not a platform for you to enrich yourself. I don't know what you make of all these happenings. And quite honestly, it's really happened within a very short period of time. You know, I don't know what you think.
Yes, thank you very much. A very good morning to you and to Paul and then our cherished viewers out there. Freeman, this is a very serious issue, and it borders on three important legs. And I think that what people are so much concerned about, and a lot of people are talking about, is the public accountability, anti-corruption aspect of the whole matter, which rightly so, you know, but there are two other important, equally important aspect of this matter which we must look at. Yes, but before I even come to the public accountability aspect, when I saw the president's acceptance letter, the first thing I said was that this is the real scandal. Freeman, trust me, Cecilia Dapaah's missing money and all the chaos around it does not come any close to the scandalous acceptance letter by the president.
How scandalous is that?
The letter is extremely scandalous.
Why do you say that?
That letter right there is a real scandal. I mean, the president, with one letter, has prejudiced any form of investigation that could happen in this matter.
How so?
By saying that he is confident that any investigations could establish the minister's innocence. So the president has already declared a verdict on this matter, even before any formal investigation.
The
was
OSP
sort of
is an
begin.
independent body, and so are all these other
Yes,
state
but
institutions.
they
so
are
what, must they be influenced?
They are appointed by the president. They are appointed by the president. Mind you, the president can, you know, some way affect or influence, even if not their tenure, even their operations in a lot of ways. We shouldn't underestimate the powers the president wields in this country. And so I thought that the president would rather be directing such a matter to the appropriate agencies to commence investigation, just as he did in similar instances. We saw the Cecilia Dapaah expose where, as soon as the matter was brought to the president's attention, the president became a complainant, reported the matter to the CID. And this time around, an incident has happened, the minister has sent her resignation, and...
But with the Cecilia Dapaah issue, for instance, there was hard evidence.
That's why I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that in the acceptance of the minister's resignation, that accolades showered on her really is just scandalous.
But said, if I know you and I know that you are a man of integrity, but there's an issue that has been raised. Maybe the president knows something that you and I don't know. The
presidency is not for personal relationships. The presidency is there. It's a public office to serve the people of this country. So I may have my personal relationship with you. I may have my own belief with you. But the president must be conscious of the peculiar position he sets as president and the powers he wields, so as not to be seen as constantly interfering with the work of independent security agencies. And I think that that letter right there is extremely scandalous. But I don't want to dwell so much on that, because this matter will immediately take its rightful turn. If you look at the anti-corruption aspect of this matter, we have the asset declaration law. The 1990 Constitution, Article 286, talks about declaration of assets and liabilities by public office holders. And so asset declaration primarily is supposed to prevent situations such as what we are witnessing today. But the asset declaration regime of this country is so weak, porous, and ineffective. If you have an asset declaration law that says that as a public officer, once you declare your assets and liabilities with the Auditor General, the Auditor General do not have the powers to publish your declaration. Nobody knows what your declarations are. Everybody is blank. It's in secrecy. And so in Madam Cecilia Dapaah's case, if her declaration had been published, the law makes it a requirement that once you file it, your declarations are published for everybody to see. What are my assets and liabilities before I'm coming into office? Today, when we found $1 million in her home, we already know that, when we look at her declaration, Madam Cecilia Dapaah already had $1 million at home already, or $2 million in the bank when she was coming to office. So there's no big deal. And then we will move on. But we do not know. So now, we are left with speculation. Everybody is saying that now we've heard so many excuses that they are funeral donations. Some are saying all manner of things. And we don't have a choice but to accept it. I mean,
but you don't have to accept it, and that is why we'll have the right agencies come in. The proper institutions to come and do that.
Until a proper formal investigation
rumors are allowed.
Yes, but until a formal investigation is conducted, we do not have any account. But what the person says is, he says it's funeral donation. What can you do?
But I don't think that Mr. Wilkinson
can you provide any contrary evidence that is not a funeral donation?
But he also, but he did not specifically say that they are funeral donations. He said it could be that these are, she just lost people. So this could be.
So we are entering into the realm of speculation. But an effective law should not allow room for speculation.
I agree.
The law should have kept these things right from the beginning, because the true and proper purpose of asset declaration is to ensure that people come into public office, we know what they have, so that once they are leaving office, we can properly track. But we do not know.
So what exactly is the problem? The fact that she had such huge amounts of money at home, or the fact that she even has this much? Is it strange for somebody of her status to have $1 million?
Yes. So I'm coming to that, because that's why I said there are three fronts.
Right.
So apart from the anti-corruption front, there's a human rights front of this matter, which involves the employment of a minor, because at the time the girl was employed, she was 17. And I hope that the relevant authorities are also taking interest in that aspect of the case. There's also the economic aspect of this matter. People keeping $1 million in their home, which signifies a huge lack of confidence in our financial sector.
Would they be wrong if they feel so?
Of course, absolutely not.
Great.
Of course, because of the reckless so-called debt restructuring and banking sector cleanup, which has taken so much confidence away from the system by depleting and taking people's savings and investments. Now, we know the relationship financial intermediaries like banks play in the economy. They are primarily like the engine of the economy. The banks take the savings of the household and people and give it as loans to the businesses. And so there's an inverse relationship between savings and unemployment. Once savings are up, unemployment go down. And so once people start keeping their monies at home, due to a lack of confidence in the financial sector, any government should be worried. And I don't see the government spokesperson and communicators really, highlighting this important problem of this matter. Because trust me, it is not only Madam Cecilia Dapaah who is keeping her money at home. Everybody is keeping their money at home now. If I have a penny, I won't put it in no bank. I won't. If you like, not even World Bank, I won't put my money in there because we've lost faith in our financial system. And so those are other important areas that we'll come to that. In terms of the employment of a minor, we know that you cannot enter into a valid contract with a minor except what we call contract for necessaries. So I think we need to interrogate whether employment falls under the contract of necessaries. What are the circumstances behind the employment of the minor? We need to also interrogate that because that's a human rights issue that we must also take cognizance of. But there are also appropriate security laws to deal with this matter. The Special Prosecutor Act have enough powers to do what we call a lifestyle audit. In other jurisdictions, that is what they use. And so if you are a teacher, and we all know, teachers, pardon me, we all know the salary of a teacher, and if you're a teacher and you drive a Rolls Royce, the Special Prosecutor have the powers, primarily on people who are politically exposed. And so if you're a teacher, but because your brother is a minister, you drive a Rolls Royce, you need to ask questions on how you came by that. So the Office of Special Prosecutor could conduct a lifestyle audit into Madam Cecilia Dapaah's, entire tenure and see whether and see what they can come up with. There's also the IOCO Act that also have enough remedies under this matter. There's also the Anti-Money Laundering Act. You can look at the money laundering implications of all these things. And so if we really want to do something about this matter, I don't think it's a rocket science. The relevant laws are already there for the security agencies.
I think it's early days yet, it just happened. So I really want to give government institutions, the government itself, the president, everybody involved, the benefit of the doubt, that something really will be done about it. And probably that's why the president also says that I know at the end of it all, meaning that some processes will be initiated.
No, that's scandalous. The president, it's not in the interest of the
But
president.
the president said, stood at Asen North to say that, the person, but the people still went ahead to vote for the person. So I think that sometimes the president can say something.
No, the president cannot say
anything. It behoves
anything.
on the state institutions who have been mandated.
You see, I think that I think we give the president so much benefit of the doubt. The office of president is a very serious office.
Of course it is.
And so you must be mindful. Anything you put on paper becomes a precedent, because tomorrow when somebody comes into office, they go back into the archive, they look at the documents, and they say that, the minister, $1 million was found in a minister's home, she resigned, and the president showered accolades on her instead of calling for appropriate investigations. And so if tomorrow I'm president and I say my minister appropriate $1 million, I also come and praises on her because I think it's normal because my predecessors have done so.
Right.